I say this comically, but it's actually true. But I wouldn't trade any ache or pain for anything in this world because I feel that you become the man you are through your life circumstances. But if you would see me get out of bed in the morning, you'd go, my God, this guy teaches BJJ. And it's just, I didn't know the word tap. I didn't know the word to warm up. I didn't know the word cool down. I just knew you walked in and you went live. And 25 years later, like you pay the price. So when I move around a little bit, I gotta get the joints lubricated first. So let's start, right? We had been going through a whole series of stuff. Basically, it was a cervical crank and then transferring to different things. And the other day, we took it in a direction. We went to an armbar setting and stuff. So I'm gonna keep it simple, but then I'm gonna bring the entry in from a different way. So it's pretty much the same thing. Just a really quick recap, not too much detail with this. I was basically bringing this guy up to a 45 like this, and then stepping over the other day, and then stepping over like this, switching my hands, getting into a Kimura. And then the second part of the move was that I tried to bring him up, and then I realized I had an opportunity to lace his neck. So I took his neck, and I realized I could lace his neck, and when I got to his chin, I basically had his chin sitting in the palm of my hand. So instead, he couldn't get up. I drove him back. I got him supine again, and what I did is I drove him back because I had his chin in the palm of my hand. I gave him a cervical crank where I pull the neck this way and then retract it upwards, and then it kills off the windpipe. He can't breathe and stuff. So let's take it from a different entry. I was here, so we're here like this, and I'm trying to pick this guy up. And all of a sudden, I realized, like, I told you, if you remember this detail, I told you about your connection between here, because I want to slow him down when he comes up. So I had explained, like, it'd be great if I can make this connection, right? That'd be awesome. But what also happens is that sometimes as I'm trying to bring him up to his 45 and step over and knee pinch him, he's got this arm in front of me here. And now he's pressing me away, and I'm going, damn. And now he's trying to connect these two together, and he's fighting like crazy to get up to turtle because he doesn't want to get pinned. He doesn't want to get caught in a side control set. He's about to lose the points. And he fights like a madman to come up to turtle. That's what he tries to do. So I'm sitting here like this, and I'm going, all right, I'm over here. He's pressing me away with that body, and I go, oh, man. All of a sudden, distance is happening, and spacing's creating. And I'm going, man, let me just grab onto this neck and see if I can drive him back. But he comes up too quick. Now, stay right here for me for 1 second. If you feel you have the opportunity to come up and catch a guillotine, because people say, could I go for a guillotine? Absolutely, absolutely. But in this description, he comes up too quick. And now what ends up happening is he's coming to turtle, and he comes up so quick on you, and you're playing a super tight game on him. And now he's going to figure out, does he do a duck under? Does he do a sit back? Does he tripod, right? And now try to get up on me. And in real fighting, they're going to try to get up on you. They're going to try to tripod because they want to stand up. They don't know what they're doing, but somehow I got to keep him down. So how I keep him down is I keep snapping down this quadrant. So as anything comes up, I'm like, oh shit, he's coming up too quick. I'm going, man, this is tough right now where my hand positions are, right? Then I'm going to pair this up, switch this high elbow. You know what's going to happen? I'm going to switch my hands up. He's going to tackle me, right? And drive me down. You're going to sit like this and go, oh gosh, this all went south on me really quick, right? So understand why we're here in this position. Don't raise your hand and say to me now, what should I have gone to a guillotine? Of course if you saw the opportunity, but he's so tight on me that I'm like, I'm not going to do a guillotine. This isn't going to work out for me. Plus, the other thing is, I don't know if you noticed, Ethan, just now when he tackled me, he's so close on me. Remember I told you a couple of weeks ago, you guys come pretty consistent, where I told you about this back leg. Remember this position where my hands were on the outside of here? I made this wedge, and I was like, drive this down. I told you, keep this back leg back, right? Because I don't want him jumping to this side, and now he's got head and hip on opposite sides, right? Same principle applies, right? Because he's coming up so quick on me. I'm sitting here like this going, oh, man, I didn't expect him to come up. Like, he's so tight on me that when I try to transfer my hands to this guillotine, my leg positions are so close that he's going to clear me to the side. And I go like, damn, that didn't work out. And now I'm going, yeah, I know, but you were so close. Like, you know, it's like that's a hard guillotine to finish off. And he's going to tackle me, and now I'm going to come down, and now he's going on top. So we're going to rip him out. So I told you different circumstances in this where potentially, like, you know, in a real fight, like, I'm scared. You know, like, I don't want this. I'd rather knee you in the top of the skull about 15 times, put you out that way, than worry about me freaking fixing my hands, like going to a guillotine, laying on my back. Hell no, not even in my wheelhouse. Renzo famously said it, man, in a street fight, you don't go on your back, period. Okay, so I always want to be able to describe that to you, that in a self-defense setting, like, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to go think that BJJ is going to save my life. No way, right? It could potentially, but I'm going to stay up, right? So now when he comes up is when we do the move. So I'm sitting here like this. I'm trying to bring him up, and I'm going, man, this guy's coming up like a bulldozer. So I'm sliding out, ripping out this hand, because I don't want him getting up and tripoding. My hand positions are on the inside. They're different than when we did a couple of weeks ago when it was on the outside. So as I rip out, I'm going to do the same roll underneath. It's the same gator roll, same anaconda, but I'm ending up in a cervical crank. It's only different, okay? So when I ripped it out, it was like this on the inside. Now my position's coming inside here, but the neck is what I really own. So as I rip his neck this way, he starts coming up high too. And now potentially I start sliding myself underneath. So as we land, I don't stop my rotation. I'm back on the same cervical crank. I'm not letting go of your neck, right? I'm not letting go of your neck. I'm going to try, unfortunately, it is what it is. I'm going to try to rip your freaking neck off your neck, right? I mean, rip your head off your neck. That's what you, in class, just be careful with it. In live street fight, you know what you got to do. In class, you get caught with that and you get submitted. Hey, it was your turn to tap, all right? So let's go one more time. So everything exactly the same because I'm going to enter the cervical crank from a different way later, right? So the position's still the same. I'm here pulling him up, or he's coming up too quick, and I go, oh shit, he's coming up on me. I don't want to end up like this. This is going to go south for me if I'm sitting so tight on him, right? He potentially now comes up, and Ethan's trying to tripod up. And I'm going, oh shit, he's starting to stand up on me. I got to rip this out. So as I rip this out and I start taking this arm away from him, I'm not in the best spot right now. Ethan potentially can get to a duck under and sit on me this way, and now I don't want any of this to happen. So I start coming underneath also. The only thing I had was his chin and sitting in the palm of my hand. I've taken out this base. I'm not letting you stand up. If I have to keep kneeing you in the top of the skull, I got to do what I have to do. But I'm going to keep ripping and ripping and ripping. When I start making the rotations, you always had his chin sitting in the palm of your hand. So start ripping at his neck as you make the turn. On the finished product, it should be smooth, right? Maddie says it. Maddie, I hope I don't mess it up again. Slow and smooth becomes slow and smooth becomes smooth and fast, or smooth and yay! All right, we're getting there. Okay. So as I'm coming up and I'm ripping this out, now as I start ripping at his chin, Ethan's ready to come over. One smooth transition, as he's landing, I can't stop my rotations. Here I go right back to the same submission. Just a different entry. I can't tell you how many times I do privates, and then I'm coaching them, and they're fighting my uke, and I'm like, do the move. And they're like, what move? And I go, cervical crank. And they go, where is it? And I go, it's the same move. It's the same, just a different entry. Just a different entry. Okay, guys, let's partner up, and then we're going to add to it as we go through. Let's do it. 1, 2, 3. It's so rapid fire. You can't think that, and this will happen, there's like things that I'll say like, so this is a black belt move to a purple belt move, black belt move. That's what I think like the majority of the BJJ game is. You know, it's like, a lot of the BJJs, the stuff that was shown 15, 20 years ago, it's like, yeah, I know. You know, like years ago, you do this baseball back choke, right? You like this. You're trying to choke this guy. You know what he does? He tries everything to get rid of this. He's like, oh, yeah, and then they tap. And then now, you try to do that, he'll swing his hips. He knows he's got time. He swivels, he turns his hips. He can't control anything. That's not a move like anymore. In my world, I'm like, okay, that's like antiquated, right? And so I say this respectfully, not to that previous generation, but like now, like the game is so People study this for hours. They literally don't go to school. They make this a major. Like, there's like, you know, listen, I have a bunch of them. Like, you know, they want to make this a profession. They study the game all the time. They play it all the time. And their reading reactions are faster and faster and faster. So if we just describe those two things, what makes me think that I could take this hand on the inside, take it out, and now start making all these crazy adjustments, and he's just supposed to stay here for me? He's going to do everything he can. So if you really, really were visualizing this, it is what it is. All I had was this inside grip, and all you had was you had position in here, and you were so much bigger and stronger than me. I can't do anything about it. I'm just going to flow off of you. Remember I said the other day, did this interview, a guy asked me about, and it was Bruce Lee. I have no disrespect to Bruce Lee. I think he's amazing. He was the first guy really to bring that to the forefront of cross training. So I think he's amazing. But that thing about be still like water, like, I don't know how he meant, but in BJJ, I think to me, it's so beautiful when you flow off of your man, and he's so big and strong, and you're just flowing off of him. And that can be in two ways, where like you're not using physical strength, but using movement, or potentially you're the much weaker guy. Like you're not as fast, you're not as big. Like, I can't think that I could just reposition my hands that easily. So this hand that's in here, I see some people thinking that when they come up like this somehow is transferring to the outside, okay? So that's not what we're doing. We're just, whatever I had. And now he's making separation here, and he's fighting to come to the turtle, and it is what it is. And now I'm just so scared that he's potentially going to get up on me, or potentially I'm going to lose my man. And like I told you, it's like, forget about submissions. Like if you start playing the game at a really high level, just losing the dominant position of being the chaser is like, boy, you're going to have issues sleeping tonight, because you lost a position off of you trying to do something that wasn't in the sequence correctly, or you took a big jump, like over 1,000 foot, like if there was no safety net and you had to jump from one side to the other, or take small steps and incrementally walk up a ladder, you do the safe way, because there's no safety net down there. So why wouldn't you do it like this? Like, why would you just think that you could jump so far ahead and just be like, oh, yeah, I know, but then what is our goal? Is it to like achieve mastery, or try to like aim for like mastery of the sport and be as deep? Because I think that BJJ trans over to life. And if you're like this half, like, I can't describe another half-ass kind of do it, like, yeah, I end up at the spot, like I could get this guy, like, so your goal is to be mediocre. That's what you want to tell me, because you're cool being a big fish in a small pond, but you couldn't handle it up here, being that little fish, right? And a bit, like, I probably messed up the saying, but I think everybody understands what I mean. Like, swallow the freaking ego at the door, dude. Like, the goal is to achieve, like mastery of the, like, so be precise and detailed, okay? So I can't think that I can just switch this hand, right? The other thing is, when I rotate them over, okay, and I've like had this visualization, I'm like really understanding my move, like understanding when I have to archive this memory, and I'm ripping out. Just a suggestion, some people think they got to pair their hands up, right? And this is why it's memory. If you remember, like last week, I told you about shooting this hand to this hip, and I described about trying to get up quickly. And you would not, if you were laying down and I said get up quickly, you wouldn't go, you would take your hands and throw them up to get yourself a little momentum. The same applies here. Like, it's the same thing. I'm sitting here like this, he comes up like this, I rip out, I'm over here, now on his neck, and I come up. And I see people trying to pair their hands here together. This hand was the same thing I just said 30 seconds ago about getting up quickly. I'm here like this, so I shoot this hand to his hip, because now it gives me momentum to make one smooth transition. But use this hand. I also may want to take and grab onto his shorts. I may want to grab onto his belt. I don't know what the hell. He maybe has a beautiful like sweat. I don't care. I don't care if he's got a belt on. I'm grabbing on down there. But in BJJ, I'm going to still use the hand to rocket myself up. I'm going to put my hands together. But if I put my hands together, then everything is slow. Right? Everything, my transition points are up, okay? Let's add to it, right? So you're going to do the move two different ways, okay? Can I go to turtle? If you remember, I just told you hand position inside, same position. If you remember this, we were on hand positions outside, right? For whatever reason, man freaking came up so quick. And I want to go to this because this happens all the time, more than the other one, okay? The other one I was inside position, but this time he comes up. And for many reasons, I'm sitting like this. He's pushing me away like a madman. I'm going, oh shit. He's now really getting up, and I'm trying to control him. And I'm going, man, I can't do anything about this. He's already pulled his elbow back on me. I'm trying to reach down here. I can't grab onto that elbow. I can't stop this guy from coming up. Like, he's coming to turtle. And my hands were like this, and he's coming to turtle. Okay, so my hands just dropped out. And that's how your position is, right? On the other one, we were on inside because we started from side control. But now we're on outside. So if you remember, how we did it was I was like, man, I need you to pair your hands up together because that's how I can control this quadrant. But there was an issue with me controlling the quadrant because I basically need a wedge point. And I just described this whole thing that, like, no, don't tell me that you're going to throw your hands up and you're going to basically, you're the knucklehead that'll go 1,000 feet in the air in a light tower with no safety net, no harness, and be like, oh, yeah, like, oh my God, you guys, like that, when I see that, it's like, ugh, like you just want to live your life, maximize your life, be detailed, man, right? So when I brought him up at this point, right, I'm ripping out, and now Ethan came up, he's like this, my hand positions are here. So if you remember about 2 weeks ago, I'd said that you're in this position. So I take my leg, this back leg, and I make a wedge point. And now I can connect my hands because what's the worst case scenario? He can't grab my leg. So what's the worst case scenario? I don't like the look and I just take this leg back out. What's the second worst? I'm like, ah, shit, man. I don't feel too comfortable sitting back and dumping him over. I'm already sitting here going, here we go again. Like, I'm perfectly set for multiple. I can bail at any time. You're not grabbing my leg. You're not double legging me. And what do you think you're going to do? You're going to sit back on this hip? My knee position's already set. Okay, I'm going to pick this, come around, I'll take, oh, sorry about that. So your positioning's perfect to follow any one of his transitions, okay? But he comes up, right? Come on, right? So I made a wedge. This is how the second one's going to be. I pull this out and I make this wedge point. I put my hands together. I see if I can choke him out with, right, with a head and arm. He dumps over. Stay right there for me, right? This is what I don't want you to finish the anaconda from here. You would normally cover the elbow, switch the hand positions. But I'm realizing that Ethan, he has two options right now. He can turn away or he can fight to turn in. We're going to deal, if you remember, 2 weeks ago, we said that he turned this way. So as he turns this way, I want to keep double reinforcements here. So my first reaction on this pairing of this hand is to grip onto the back of the tricep. My second thing is to have conscious contact behind the tricep with my head position because I want to release this hand and loop it through. So as I loop it through, I'm doing the same thing. I'm shooting my hand to this hip and I'm dropping this to his chin. Nothing can go wrong because I always have the safety to get out if I don't like the look, right? So I'm putting my hands here. So my hands were, right? I just connected them. This is exactly where they were. I tried my best to cover this elbow, but he's pulling back on me. So I take control of the back tricep. As I'm holding his position, I have 3 points of contact. This hand, this head. This is the one I want to release. I throw this through, I loop it through. I shoot it to that hip so that as I'm coming up, I'm scissoring my legs. I'm shooting this hand long. This hand is dropping. So I'm going really as one smooth move. This guy's coming to the chin. I'm making the transition. I'm right back up again. Same move, right? Same move that we did the other day, right? Let me have you on side control, right? So I'm sitting here like this. Remember the other day, I tried to pick him up to side control, and he's like this, and I'm like, oh, you know what? He gave me his neck already. So instead, he's like not even recovering. So then I push him down the other way, and I turn it back. And some people said to me the other day, like, why don't you do a guillotine? I don't want to get too crazy about the arteries because the angle of the arteries, but cervical cranks are illegal in IBJJ. IBJJ made so many things illegal, but now they're paying a price because you see these ADCCs and all these things and who's number one stuff. Like the game is silly. Like you can't allow reaping. Like how are you going to save yourself if a guy was punching you from the top? But then they tell you like we wear gis because in life, you know, people wear clothes. Then you should be allowed to reap. You're going to take the most important dimension out when a guy's standing up on you and slamming you in the face. The only thing you could do is buckle his knee with a reap. So they took it out of the equation. So they took cervical cranks, and I get it because those are too dangerous. But now you have a different entry, okay? So one more time. The first one, we came from here, ripped him out. Only thing different this time is that he's like this. He's in front of me. He's pushing me away, and I go, oh boy, he's coming up. And I go, okay, hand positions are out. Wedge point comes in, hands connect, I dump. I try to connect. He's turning. I got my positions, punch the hand long, and I'm right back on the submission again. Right? Same exact thing, different entry. Try your best to capture it, even if you don't capture it really well today, because it, in the beginning, feels so awkward to make those transitions. Like, don't worry about it. Try your best to capture it as best you can, and on Friday we'll drill it more so that you're just looping this neck from every angle. Like, and one other thing is, like, I know some people will always feel like this weirdness. They're like, when do I loop the neck? If this freaking guy has left his backside open and an opportunity to grab his neck, in gi, I always find it kind of amusing. Like, and I have to blame the instructor. They'll let gi players roll, and they'll just grab on into anything. Like, if you can get control of one side of an artery, that's the first thing. I look at Roy and I go, I grab onto his gi, and white belts, blue belts, purple belts will let you do this. Grab onto his gi, and he's moving all over the place, and all I'm doing is like trying to lace the neck. And now when I have this neck so deep, I start playing the game, and they think they're running all over the place, and I'm moving them. And the moment I kick out one leg, try to pretend I go to sweep, anything, I go, and then they go to bed. It's like that easy. But this is how they play the game, right? Come up a second. They'll go, clap hands, and they'll put their, dude, like, no. I open up the cup, I'm on this neck, let's play now, right? And now, but they'll do everything else. They'll go, okay, I'm going to lasso and spike. He left your neck open, and now you want to go lasso, and you want to go spider guard, and all these things. Like, I get it, but he left his neck open, his collar's out, and they'll go, Trip, why don't you go, you're the guy that if we went to an apple orchard, we had no food, you would be the guy trying to pick the apple at the top and like almost kill yourself. Instead, they're all hanging around me, and I want to just, like, that's who you are, okay? So let's go, let's do it, right? So you had a different entry, same position. Don't worry if you don't get it today. That means you got to come on Friday, okay? So that we get some reps in. That, hey, man, every time I can lace somebody's neck, I'm going to take it. So same principle with the gi. If I'm sitting here like this and Nathan's moving around, I go, shit, he just gave me his neck. He just gave me his neck. Like, every single time, if I can grab onto your neck, I own an artery. And now I own most of the game now. So now I can go all different ways. I can pair this up to a high elbow guillotine. I can pair this up to a cervical crank. I can dictate the game because now not only do I own the artery, I can control your movements now because I can limit how much you can move by the angles of how the chins go. I will say something, and you know I have no filter in my mouth. Some people zone out on me, but when I watch your game and you're not implementing, you know what? You should pay attention, man. That's the truth. You should pay attention. I call it out how it is, man. So when you go, I heard this before, I would be very respectful to you if you did it like that. But if you're like so sloppy in your hands and you know you basically have wars with guys that have been playing 3 years and you've been playing 15 and that's your, man, bro, why do you come here so often for? Why do you come so early? Why do you pretend to go through the motions of drilling? Like, nah, man, like I don't want to live life like that. Right, so go do the move with the positions on the outside, right?
Positions on the outside.
Yeah. So he comes up to turtle so quick. And now Amadeo's like this, right? And now he pairs the hand, he wedges this, right? Stay right there, okay? He takes his hands and he brings them so high up. And now he really wanted to try to finish him, right? Remember I said 20 years ago, this guy would choke out because he wouldn't dump out. He wouldn't land his hip on, he wouldn't escape. He would sit there and just try to get these hands off. That was the same thing I described with the baseball choke earlier, right? Same thing. right? So Amadeo really wanted to finish him. Davey, don't jump out. He finishes him now, right? But this guy knows how to escape. It's not 20 years ago. And now, potentially, or I'm like, damn, Amadeo realizes, like, I can't get my hands up high enough, like, I can't get to this artery, or I'm trying to choke him, or just, I got to dump him. So now he dumps him, right? And now the fight starts, okay? So that's how this transpired, okay? I also want to describe, go to the position with the chin strap, right? Understand something, right? Remember we said, yeah. So now we're inside position, okay? A lot of people are doing it segmented, like they do one portion of it, then they do the next portion of it, then they do the next portion. Maddie said it, okay? Slow is smooth, smooth becomes fast, right? Yes, sir. Ah, I got it, okay. So if we're going slow motion, David is turning this way. He's fighting like crazy. So that means his chin is rotating like this. So why are you going to pause it, right? So go super slow. David's coming up. Amadeo's ripping out. He's already coming underneath and ripping because David gave him. So if we talk about having vision and going like, you know, why does the slower guy beat the bigger, faster, athletic monster of a man on the mat? Like, yeah, I know, but he just took his movement through a cycle, right? He was the one fighting. One more time. David was fighting like crazy to come up. Why not just let him go and just rip his neck on the other side right now, right? That even had a pause, right? Once, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. You guys saw it, like he paused in the north-south, but he was giving you the momentum. Why not say, okay, go ahead, brother. I'm going to take you out the other way. I'm just going to rip your neck because you're coming this way. One more time. Dave, go slow with him. So the pause should never happen. He's bringing him up. He's racing the neck. He's backstepping. David's coming up like crazy. There you go. That's what that looks like. That's what that looks like, right? And that was unrehearsed, undrilled. Like he drills that another 30, 50 times, put it in his archive 1,000. Like that becomes deadly. That's like, whoa, you're just manipulating movement. Like, so let's go. We got about a 90-second break. We get started. Water, coffee, vitamins, all the stuff you want. Let's do it.